Hello everyone. Welcome to the third lecture on permutation and combination. In this lecture, what we'll be doing is we'll be discussing the next topic, that is word problems. Okay. Now, if this is the first video of PNC that you're watching, then I would recommend you to watch the first video on PNC, that is the basics of PNC, where I've described what is permutation, what is combination, because that is essential for you to know, because we'll be continuing on those concepts only. We'll be extrapolating on the things that we have learned, and then you can go through the second video also, in which I have discussed the questions, right? So what we'll be doing is, in this topic, is that we'll be understanding questions pertaining to word problems. Like, for example, if I say I have a word begin with me, then in how many ways can you arrange the letters of the word begin on a straight line, or for that matter of fact any other word. The concepts that we'll be learning in this topic or in today's videos are not only limited to word problems. They can be used in other questions also. For example, instead of words, I can have like certain number of books. In how many ways can you arrange different books or similar books, or one book at this end, other book at this end, two things together, something between two things, and all those kind of things we'll be discussing. All right, so we'll be starting with the theory part, and once we understand the theory, then we'll be moving on to the questions part, the way we have been doing in past all the videos. All right, so first of all, the thing that we need to discuss is more about permutation. So in lecture number 1, or in video number 1 of permutation and combination, we discuss what exactly is permutation, right? What's the formula for permutation. Then we also discussed what you call as the concept of counting method. Okay, so we'll be taking it from there itself. All right, let's try and understand. So we'll try to understand this more about permutation with the help of a question. So the question is something like this: in how many ways can you arrange 5 children on 5 different chairs? In how many ways can you arrange 5 children on 5 different chairs? Okay, now you all would be knowing what will be the formula to this. I just want to like compare and contrast different approaches. All right, that's what I want to do. This is something that we have been doing, comparing different approaches, because all of them are going to lead you to the same result. It's just that you need to know which one you need to use in which question. That's important and relevant. All right, the first way is simply using the formula for permutation, for the fact that we are talking about arrangement, because the question says in how many ways can you arrange. So how many chairs do I have? I have 5 different chairs. How many children do I have? I have 5 children. So I can say that n here will represent the number of chairs, which is 5, and r here would represent number of children, that is also equal to 5. So number of ways in which I can arrange 5 children on 5 different chairs would simply be equal to 5p5. Would simply be equal to 5p5. Now we know that npr is equal to n factorial divided by n minus r factorial. So this will simply become 5 factorial divided by 5 minus 5 factorial. So this is equal to 5 factorial by 0 factorial. Now 0 factorial is equal to 1. So your answer simply becomes 5 factorial, which is equal to 120 ways. Which is equal to 120 ways. Okay. Another way is we use our logic in order to solve this question, which is more important for us to understand. So let's see what's going to happen. I have 5 chairs and I have 5 children, 1 2 3 4 5, let's suppose. Now when the first child would come in, use your logic, simply nothing else is required. When the first child would come in, how many options is he or she going to have with him or her? So the first child is going to have 5 options. He can sit on the first chair or second or third or fourth or fifth, because all 5 of them are vacant. He can choose any of the 5 chairs. So when the first child would come in, he's going to have 5 options with him. He's going to have 5 options with him. When the second child would come in, how many options the second child is going to have? He's going to have 4 options with him, because one of these spaces will be occupied by the first child, so he'll be left with 4 seats. So he's going to have 4 options with him. When the third child would come in, then he's going to have 3 options with him. When the fourth child would come in, he's going to have 2 options. And when the fifth child would come in, he's going to have 1 option. Now you want first child to sit, and second child to sit, and third child to sit, and fourth child to sit, and fifth child to sit. So whenever you use the word and, it stands for multiplication. So your answer will simply become 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, which is again equal to 5 factorial, that's equal to 120 ways. That is again equal to 120 ways or 5 factorial. So whether you use the formula or whether you use the logic, it's one and the same thing, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's one and the same thing, it doesn't matter. Now, there are 2 important statements for you to remember. The first one comes from this logic that we have just applied, here. So the first statement goes something like this: if n different things are to be arranged on a straight line, then the total number of ways will simply be equal to n factorial. Like in this case, we had 5 children, so arranging them on 5 different chairs will simply be equal to 5 factorial. So if n different things are to be arranged on a straight line, then the total number of ways will be n factorial. Different things can be any different things. For example, if you have 5 different books, then you're going to arrange them in 5 factorial ways. For example, if you have 10 different types of laptops, then you can arrange them in 10 factorial ways. Okay, so if n different things are to be arranged on a straight line, then the total number of ways is equal to n factorial. And second one is, if n different things are to be arranged around a circle or in a circular arrangement, then the total ways is n minus 1 factorial. Then the total number of ways is n minus 1 factorial. Now, why is it n minus 1 factorial when we talk about circle? Let's try and understand the reason. The reason is quite simple. Like when we talk about a circle, there is no starting point and there is no end point on a circle. Like when you talk about like a straight line, let's suppose you talk about like 10 chairs. Okay, let me first remove this. Let's suppose if I talk about 10 chairs, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, let me make 1 here, 10 chairs. So you can say that generally what the case is, either this becomes your starting point or this becomes our starting point. Generally, you can start from the middle also. It's not that you have to always start from the leftmost end or the rightmost end. You can start from the middle also. But the point is, you have a starting point. You have a defined starting point. That's not the same scenario with circle. That's not. For example, let's suppose if I have 3 chairs, 1 2 and 3. So let's suppose a person can sit A, B, C is here. Now, if let's suppose if this is one case that A, B, C, then for example, if I change this and if I make this, let's suppose A, B, and C, the black one is the second case. How would you define that these two are different cases? Because one can say, okay, my circle is starting from here, other can say, okay, my circle is starting from here. So they both can be the same cases also. So what do you do in this case? What do you do when you talk about circle? Since there is no starting point or there is no end point, you take one of the n objects or one of the n things as your reference point. You take one of the n things as your reference point, which means you'll be left with n minus 1 things. You'll be left with n minus 1 things, and then n minus 1 things can be arranged in n minus 1 factorial ways. Or let's suppose when you take this point as your reference point, so then you can like cut this circle and you can like draw this as a straight line, and this is your reference point. And then you have to arrange n minus 1 things on a straight line, which can be again arranged in n minus 1 factorial ways. So the only problem is that we do not have a reference point when you talk about circular arrangement. But when you talk about linear arrangement, then there is a reference point. Now remember that these two things are only applicable for different things. These two formulas are only applicable for, or these two relationships are only applicable for different things. I'm not saying similar, okay? I'm saying different things. Alright, now keeping this in mind, we'll be moving forward. The first thing that we'll be discussing is the word problems without conditions. Alright, so let's start with a simple word. So let's start with maths. Okay. So if you have been learning UK English, then it's maths. If you have been learning US English, then it's math. Anyway, the word is maths. The question is, in how many ways can you arrange the letters of the word maths on a straight line? Question is simple. In how many ways can you arrange the letters of the word maths on a straight line? Okay. Couple of ways of doing this. Okay, first of all, you should not have questions like these. Like when I say that in how many different ways can you arrange the letters of the word on a straight line? So you should not have this question that can I use M twice? Can I use A thrice? No. The simple answer is no. The number of times the alphabet has been used in the parent word, you'll be using the alphabet that many number of times only. So for example, in this case, M has been used once, you'll be using M once. A has been used once, you'll be using A once. T has been used once, you'll be using T once, and so on. Okay, so you should not have this question that can I use M thrice, can I use H thrice? No. The number of times the alphabet has been used in the parent word, you'll be using the same number of times for any other word. So question is pretty simple. In how many ways can you arrange the letters of the word maths on a straight line? Now one is I can say that there are like n different things, because M is different, A is different, T, H, they all are different. So n different things are arranged in n factorial ways. So 5 different things can be arranged in 5 factorial ways, which is simply equal to 120. So 5 different things on a straight line can be arranged in 5 factorial ways, that is 120. Or otherwise you can again put it in this way that there are like 5 blanks. So when the first letter would come in, it's going to have any of the 5 spaces. The second one is going to have any of the 4 spaces. The third letter is going to have any of the 3 spaces, and so on and so forth. Okay. So in how many different ways can we rearrange the letters of the word maths on a straight line? We can rearrange the letters of the word maths on a straight line in 5 factorial ways, that is 120 ways. They could have also asked you like how many 4-letter words, how many different 4-letter words can you form using the word maths? So if they ask you like about 4-letter words, then it will simply be 5P4. Why 5P4? Because you have 5 letters. You want to arrange 4, it will simply be 5P4. Now luckily this answer also comes out to be 5 factorial, because it will be 5 factorial by 1 factorial. 1 factorial is again 1. This will again come out to be 120. Okay, so that can also be made. Okay, now let's change the word. So let's say the next word is the word transition. In how many ways can you rearrange the letters of the word transition on a straight line? In how many ways can you rearrange the letters of the word transition on a straight line? Now in this case, we need to understand which all letters are repeating. So I have T, 2 T's, I have 2 I's, and I have 2 N's. Right? I have 2 T's, I have 2 I's, and I have 2 N's. So what's the problem? You need to understand where would the problem come. Why can't I write my answer as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Why can't I write my answer as 10 factorial? Where's the problem? And if there is a problem, then what's the solution? So the problem is that I have 2 T's, I have 2 N's, and I have 2 I's. So these are not like in different letters. These are not in different letters. These are not 10 different letters. These are not 10 different alphabets. I can't write 10 factorial. Now the problem is that when you'll start rearranging, and if you interchange the 2 T's while rearranging, if you interchange the 2 T's, the word will not change. For example, let's suppose if I write my first word as T1 RANSI T2 ION, and if I interchange T1 and T2, then it will be T2 RANSI T1 ION. Now this T1 and T2 is for our better understanding, but if you remove T1 and T2, like if you remove 1 and 2, can I say that the word will not change? The first word is transition, the second word is also transition. The first word is transition, the second word is also transition. So the problem is, while arranging, if you interchange the 2 T's, the word will not change. If I interchange T with any other word, for example, if I interchange T with R, then my word will become RTANSITION. Like it doesn't stand for something, but the word has changed, right? This word is not transition anymore. So the problem is not that when I'm interchanging T with any other alphabet, like when I'm interchanging it with R or A or S, that's not where the problem is. The problem is when I'm interchanging the 2 T's, the word is not changing. The problem is when I'm interchanging the 2 T's, the word is not changing. Right? So whenever I'm interchanging 2 T's, and if I take 10 factorial, if I say that my 10 factorial is my answer, that means I'm counting words twice, or I'm counting words 2 factorial times more, because interchanging of 2 T's is not going to have any impact on my answer, which means interchanging of 2 T's will not give you a new word. Similarly, when you're going to interchange 2 N's, again you will not have a new word. And when you're going to interchange the 2 I's, again you will not have a new word. But if you're going to interchange T with N or N with I or T with I, you will definitely get a new word. The problem is interchanging 2 T's, 2 N's and 2 I's. In those cases, you will not get a new word. So your answer typically becomes 10 factorial divided by the extra cases or the double cases that we have counted, divided by 2 factorial into 2 factorial into 2 factorial. because interchanging of two t's and interchanging of two n's and interchanging of two i's will not give me a new word, will not give me a new word. Now many people do ask me, sir, why can't we simply write this as 10 factorial by 6 factorial? I hope you have understood. The problem is not interchanging of t and n, t and I and n. The problem is interchanging of two t's, two n's and two i's. So first 2 factorial is for 2 t's, second 2 factorial is for 2 n's, and third 2 factorial is for 2 i's. I hope it's clear to everyone. So just remember this. So try one more. Alright, so what word can we take? Let's take the word mathematics itself. Again, when you talk about this word mathematics, the problem is when you interchange the two m's, the word will not change. When you interchange the two a's, the word will not change. And when you interchange the two t's, the word will not change. So how many letters do you have? You have 11 letters. That is 11 factorial. But all of them are not different. There's a problem. That is interchanging of 2m. So divide by 2 factorial. I can't count words twice. Similarly, interchanging two a's will not also give me a new word. Again into 2 factorial. And interchanging of two t's will also not give me a new word. So again into 2 factorial. Alright. So this is what you need to understand, like whenever something is common, accordingly you will have to divide. It may happen that more than it may happen that more than two alphabets are same. Like what I mean to say is that it may happen that a letter is repeating itself more than twice. For example, there's a very famous word that is Mississippi. This is how usually teachers teach permutation and arrangement on things also on straight line. So you have MI SSI, SSI and PPI. So in this case, the problem is that you have four S's. So interchanging of any two of them will not give you the new word. And you have 1, 2, 3 and 4 I's also. And you have 2 P's also. So how many letters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 11 factorial. But from the 4 S's, if you interchange any two, you will not get a new word. So divide by 4 factorial. Because for those many number of cases, you will be counting cases again and again. Multiplied by 4 factorial, that's because of 4 i's. And multiplied by 2 factorial, that's because of 2 p's. So your answer becomes 11 factorial by 4 factorial into 4 factorial into 2 factorial. Now this can be asked, like it's not about only word problems, this can be asked in many different ways. For example, let's suppose you have 10 books with you. Sorry. You have 10 books with you, of which 3 are of physics, 2 are of chemistry and 5 are of maths. All physics books are same, all physics books are identical, all chemistry books are identical, and all maths books are identical. So again you will do 10 factorial by 3 factorial into 2 factorial into 5 factorial. So whenever things are similar, you divide, because you're not allowed to count a case more than once. That is not possible. So when we start solving questions, you'll get a better understanding. But just remember this. Okay, for this point of time, just remember this. This is what you need to know. Alright, now these were the questions that were without conditions. Now you can have questions with conditions also. For example, let's start with the word problem itself. Question is simple. In how many ways can you rearrange the letters of the word problem on a straight line such that vowels are always together? Such that vowels are always together. Now this is just one of the conditions. I can make any question like I want R to be always between the vowels. I want vowels at the end. I want vowels at the middle. I don't want vowels to be together. I want vowels in such a way that the consonants are divided into equal parts. You can frame n number of conditions. The only question is how you're supposed to solve them, how you're supposed to take them forward. That's it. The critical point about this chapter is, as I've been saying for the past two videos, including this one, is how do you approach a question that matters? The formula doesn't matter. There are only 4 or 5 things which you need to know. One is NCR, one is NPR, one is N factorial, one is N minus 1 factorial. That's it. How do you approach a specific question that matters? Remember that always. Now let's try this one. So vowels are always together. So whenever things are together, what we'll do is we're going to club them as one. Because if I'm going to club them as one, if I'm going to consider that as single entity, they will always be together. Now I'm going to consider that OE is one. OE is one thing. That is one entity. Apart from that, you can write all the other letters. So we have P, R, B, L and M. Now interestingly, all of them are different, which is a good thing for us. So first entity is OE, this is second, this is third, this is fourth, this is fifth, and this is sixth. Now if I consider OE as one entity which is together, that means I basically have 6 entities. I basically have 6 entities with me. Now 6 different things on a straight line can be arranged in 6 factorial ways. All of them are different, right? None of them is same. OE is 1, P, R, B, L, M. All of them are different. 6 factorial. Nothing to worry about. Nothing is same. Nothing is repeating. Now 6 factorial is not the complete answer. Now understand this part. I said that O and E have to be together. O and E have to be together, but that doesn't stand for the fact that O has to come before E. That doesn't stand for the fact that O has to come before E. What I mean to say is I can interchange these two words also. Two things can be arranged in 2 factorial ways. So your entire answer becomes 6 factorial into 2 factorial. 6 factorial into 2 factorial. And this is your answer. Okay? Pretty simple. Now in this case, let's suppose if I would have given you that, in how many ways can you arrange the letters or alphabets of the word problem on a straight line such that consonants are always together? So what will you do? You will take all consonants to be together. So P, R, B, L, M. And then you have O, then you have E. So now this becomes one entity because I want them to be together. Then you have O and then you have E. So I have 3 things. In how many ways can I arrange them? 3 factorial ways. But these 5 words have to be together, but I can rearrange them among themselves, right? It's not said that P has to be the first one, R has to be second one, and M has to be the last one. I can interchange them. So into 5 factorial. The answer is 3 factorial into 5 factorial. So whenever something is together, club them. Whatever you are clubbing, can we have arrangement within themselves also? If it is possible, do take that also into consideration. Go step by step. Let's take another word. Let's say the word is, let me make the word. Okay. So I've made a new word, that is Mathematica, just so that questions become a bit more interesting to solve. So again, the question is, in how many ways can you rearrange the letters of the word Mathematica on a straight line such that vowels are always together? So pause the video and try this question by yourself first. Alright, let's give this one a try. Now again, we'll be thinking about this question in a mathematical way, right? Nothing else is there. So we want vowels to be together. How many vowels do we have? I have A, then T is not, H is not, then I have E, then I have A, then I have I, and then I have A. I want them together, I'm gonna club them. Then I have M, then I have T, M, T, H, H, M, M, T, T, and C, and C. Let me just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 5 and 6, 11. Fine. This is one entity. Alright. Second entity, third entity, fourth entity, fifth entity, sixth entity, seventh entity. 7, like, let's not go into what are same and what are not same. Let's just say that as of now I have 7 entities. 7 things can be arranged in 7 factorial ways. First step, 7 things can be arranged in 7 factorial ways. Now what all is common? Now A, E, A, I, A is one unit. Like, what is common among them? We'll discuss that. Don't worry. As of now, this is one separate entity which is not repeated again. Okay. Then I have two M's. So divided by 2 factorial. And I have two T's. Then in the denominator again into 2 factorial. So 2 M's and 2 T's into 2 factorial into 2 factorial. Fine. Now let's come to the clubbed part. Now, how many entities do I have within this clubbed part? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, into 5 factorial. Alright. Do we have anything in common? Yes. A, 3 A's into 3 factorial. Simply going step by step, that's it. So, in how many ways can you arrange the letters of the word Mathematica on a straight line such that vowels are always together? 7 factorial into 5 factorial divided by 2 factorial square into 3 factorial. Simply going step by step, nothing else. Now in this case, they can also ask you, like, instead of saying always together, let's suppose they give you this question that they are not together. Vowels are not together, or they can say never together. So how do you solve this? Now when you talk about not together, there is no general way of solving things. There is no general way of solving things. Whenever you have not together, you will simply remember this one simple relationship. That is, whenever things are not together, if you want to find out the number of cases, that is equal to the total number of cases minus the cases when things are together. Minus the cases when things are together. You will simply remember this. It is total number of cases, that is without any condition, minus the cases when things are together. Okay, for example, if I talk about this word problem, so question is, in how many ways can you arrange the letters of the word problem on a straight line such that vowels are never together, so how many letters do you have? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So 7 letters can be arranged in 7 factorial ways because all of them are different. 7 letters can be arranged in 7 factorial ways. So your answer, that is vowels are never together, will become 7 factorial minus 6 factorial into 2 factorial. 7 factorial minus 6 factorial into 2 factorial. So you will remember this. Whenever things are not together, you will use that simple relationship, that is total number of cases minus when things are together. Alright. Once we like start solving questions, you'll understand more things, don't worry. You can have different conditions also. Now taking all the conditions in theory will become bit boring, so I'm not going into that. I have like formed like almost like 11-12 questions, different questions with different conditions, which will help you in a better understanding. Okay, now remember that this logic that we have discussed, this is not limited only for word problems. This can be used for any type of problems. Okay, whatever, like books you have people, you have computers, you have laptops, whatever you are arranging, this logic is applicable to all those things. All right, so we'll keep it till here for this video. This was only the concept part, the basics, and in the next one we'll be understanding on how to solve the questions related to this. So guys, if you haven't subscribed the channel, please do subscribe it. Please do like the video. Please share the video with your friends so that the channel grows and more people are able to learn properly, right? And if you're looking for individual classes, private coachings, then you know how to reach me. You have my number, you have my email ID also, and if you have anything to suggest, then I'm open to any sort of suggestions. All right, if you want to comment, please do comment. And thanks a lot guys for all the support that you have been giving me for all my past videos. Keep watching and keep learning. Thank you so much.